Good morning, wrestling fans, and welcome to a very special edition of PWR Today. If you've been joining us so far this week, it has been Matthew Thomas and Linda Kay. Well, this is going to be a very special edition. I would like to welcome Linda Kay back to the program. Linda, how are you this morning?
Doing tremendous, as always.
And the studio is a little bit fuller than it's been the last couple of days. Do we have anybody else present in the studio for the roll call?
It's fuller because I'm bigger? I mean, what are you trying to say?
Well, I thought that was the purpose of the entire surgery. It did the opposite, right?
No, I was trying to apply for the Winter Soldier program, but I got rejected.
Yeah, but it's autumn, so could you be maybe the autumn soldier instead of the winter soldier?
The October soldier, basically.
Welcome back, Meathead, fresh from his road to recovery. The man they call Meathead. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Hey, it's a new thing to try to use a microphone, use a keyboard, a mouse, all with one hand.
Absolutely. And have you been comfortable, during your recovery process? Have you been? You've got plenty of garments to wear. Is that correct?
I do have garments, and a lot of the garments are from our friends at Collar and Elbow.
Now, have you gotten any of the care packages that the listeners have been sending?
Well, here's the thing. I also listened to the program while in surgery. That's what they listened to in the operating room was PWR Today. And once they heard the care packages, I kicked the mask off and said, "Don't you dare let them send that stuff to my house." I'm kidding, of course. I appreciate everybody's well wishes. But, I'm in the recovery stage, man. So, I had to have a little bit of a shoulder replacement. That's many, many years of baseball and many, many, many years of, field work. So it was time. I was told I'm not getting an 18-year-old shoulder, but, if I can make a throw from second to home, I'll be okay. I'm not expecting to make that center field to home throw.
Fantastic. And Linda, if you'd like to save money on sending Meathead his special care packages, what would you do if that was a thing that you wanted to do?
Yes, to anybody else. I mean, from what I understand, Meathead is still taking care packages. So if you want to dress them up in some collar and elbow gear, you can go to Collar and Elbow.
Folks, I need tank tops to get access to the shoulder.
That is true. Maybe there's still some Good Brothers summer tank tops available for Meathead. You can go to collarandelbowbrand.com and use promo code LindaK, that's LINDAKAY, to save yourself 10% off that order, whether for yourself or for the man they call Meathead.
So outside of the major news, not to bury the lead, because the man they call Meathead has returned to the show. So that's news item number one.
And I want to say thank you to you guys, Linda, Matthew. You guys really stepped it up, to the point where I'm wondering if maybe I should just be an analyst here and let you guys drive, because it was fantastic.
You know what? There's plenty of room in this driver's seat for everybody to have a hand on the steering wheel, huh?
Gotcha.
I think we've
already got us three, and then Jesus takes the wheel and all that other good stuff. So
no, there are plenty of options, and then we're assuming that it's automatic, but it might be manual. So maybe somebody's on the wheel, somebody's shifting gears, somebody's on the clutch.
I was going to say that whoever's hand is best on that stick shift can steer the wheel.
Meathead.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the line from Nickelback. I know everybody doesn't like Nickelback, but there's a line from Nickelback. Something about something on my gear shift or gear stick or something like that. That's all I was thinking of there.
Yeah, well, I'm sure all of our listeners will they'll do a deep dive into the Nickelback catalog this weekend. So if you're looking for something to do, that's a thing that you can do as well too. Well, we've had a lot of news this week about Smackdown, about Rampage. One show's adding 30 minutes. Another one is going, the Rampage are having their buy-in. We've got additional news this morning about a WWE announcement that took place yesterday. For all of you that were looking forward to your December pay-per-view of TLC, it looks like it is no more. WWE announcing they are actually not running TLC, which I believe was supposed to hail from Chicago this year.
Yep.
Cancellation of the December pay-per-view. we've got Crown Jewel, we've got Survivor Series, we've got a new pay-per-view on January 1st called Day One. But your December pay-per-view, the pay-per-view where everybody would come dressed in their Santa hats or Christmas attire, you would, get maybe an appearance by Santa Claus Mick Foley. That is apparently off. I'd like to go around the room to throw it back to the PWR Meltdown days and kind of get your take on, there's a lot of back and forth about the competition between AEW and WWE. And I don't think that this is not affected by anything that AEW's done per se. But like we talked about yesterday, I mean, we are basically in a war of perception at this point. And WWE chopping one of their pay-per-views off the schedule. How does this play with you? I'm going to start first, Linda.
And it's very interesting where maybe, it could have been pushed back a week or forward a week, but instead we're now adding 2 pay-per-views in the month of January. Obviously we don't know the real reasoning behind this as of right now, but I don't know about having a pay-per-view on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Necessarily will help with attendance. I don't know if that's really on their minds, because no matter what, there's going to be a huge audience at a WWE live event. But just very interesting to have it on New Year's Day, day one-ish, as I like to call it. I think that the real reasoning may come out soon enough, but I just find it interesting that they're going to add on 2 pay-per-views back in 1 month. Before, like, it kind of reminds me of when there was a separate SmackDown pay-per-view and then the separate Raw pay-per-view in the same month, which kind of became a little overload, especially now with everything going on. It would be even more overload. Don't get me wrong, I'll take that action. I love wrestling, but just interesting to put 2 into the new year so far.
Meathead.
So it's kind of weird. With the pay-per-views being on Sundays in January, January's got 5 Sundays, right? So it's not like it's a real month, it's an extended month. I'm okay with it, but I feel that, and maybe we haven't talked about this in a while, maybe myself and you guys, or you guys together, without me, but is this war not even a Monday Night War / Friday Night War? Is this more of a Cold War of wrestling?
Yeah.
Where you say that
it's a
war of perception? I think it's a Cold War where they're basically trying to make themselves look better while still downplaying the fact that we're not competing.
No, I think you're spot on. And that was a pretty quick pull that you knew that January had 5 Sundays in it. Do you have a calendar in front of you, Meathead?
No, but if it's the 1st and the 29th, simple math.
Wait a minute. Is that the trick you were telling me about, like the knuckles?
With the knuckle
stuff?
trick?
Yeah. I don't think can you go over that again? I don't think I quite got it the first time.
Actually, I was that has to do with what months have 30 days and what months have 31 days and what months don't. So if you start on your hand and start on a knuckle, like on your forefinger, knuckle is a 31, inside is not. Knuckle is a 31, inside is not. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and then you ended up at the end of your hand. You go back to your next hand, August, that's a knuckle, then not, knuckle, not, knuckle.
So can you use your toe knuckles as well for this trick?
If you need to, if you don't have any hands and, your feet are, by your face so you can count, sure.
Where did you come up with this, Meathead?
Monkey Public Schools. I'm mock.
Hey, I'm M.O.T.S. too, Meathead. I guess I was never taught that.
Yeah. Never eat shredded wheat. That's how you know north, east, south, and west.
Oh, that is true.
So we really need to have you display this knuckle trick on the next live video show. Hopefully we'll do one before the draft or something. But I think it's very descriptive, but I don't think you can do it justice until we actually have this on video.
Oh boy. We'll talk about that after WrestleMania once I've won the PWR draft again.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that.
And that's funny talking about the TLC, because that's another event that technically is off the table.
Yeah. But we've still got, like I said, we've got 2 in January, so yes. I guess it kind of sets it. Although those of us with WWE-centric rosters might be a little bit disappointed by this news because, we're losing another WWE pay-per-view. But oh well, we might have to make some adjustments here and there. Well, let's talk about this Cold War, and let's talk about this war of perception, Meathead. We talked about it in depth yesterday morning, but we did not get your reaction to what's going on with Rampage this week, with the buy-in, and also with what's going on with the extension of Smackdown. In this case, we don't know who's counter-programming who, but tonight we have got, an hour and a half of extra wrestling on our TV dial.
Yeah, and the wrestling Smackdown will be on Fox Sports 1 due to the Major League Baseball playoffs, which I thought were over. I thought they ended on Thursday or Wednesday, excuse me. The playoffs are still going. There's other teams in there. So that's what's happening. Fox has always said that, WWE needs to bounce over to FS1, for certain events, be it, NASCAR or be it sometimes baseball or football. But so here we are. And I feel that even though we're going to get it's a half hour, right? And it's supposed to be commercial free.
Yeah, that was announced.
Are we getting one match or two? I mean, because in the half hour of commercial free, they're not going to give you content you're going to say to yourself, wow, that extra time was so worth it.
Yeah.
The Rampage side, even if it's got a commercial in it where it says, hey, we're going to put you in picture and let you watch the match, excuse me. But I do feel that we might just get more content from Rampage.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, and that's a very good point in the fact that AEW, they've announced, the two main matches that you're going to get that they're doing with this extension. WWE's basically, unless I've missed something, said, hey, we're giving you extra time, but we're not going to tell you what we're going to do in that extra time. And I mean, that's
Gawker.
Yeah, that's pretty much, that's kind of the booking strategy at this point is, where AEW's doing that solid job of announcing the matches at least a week in advance. Prior to a Rampage or prior to Dynamite, you can pull up that graphic and you're going to see, in most cases, 3 or 4 matches. And even a Rampage that is a 1-hour show, you're going to get those 3 matches. So it's just, it's done differently. WWE is still running that formula of, tune in and see what happens. 9 times out of 10, you'll have whatever the main angle for the show is in the first segment. And then, that leads to a tag team match or this, that, or the other. But that's the formula that they're still running with. So just 2 different companies doing business in different ways. If I
could add one more thing into that as well. I want them to compete, but I don't want them to tell me they're competing.
Right.
Just do your business.
Yeah. I was gonna add too that this formula of AEW announcing their matches in advance. It looked like WWE was taking that lead a bit as well. Just in the last pay-per-view when they kept plugging what was going to happen on Monday Night Raw the next
day. They announced a lot of Bobby Lashley stuff.
Yeah, they don't normally do that. So I think they saw what was working for one company and that maybe we'd try it on our end, but not completely do the exact same thing, seeing if it works out with their ratings as well.
Yeah, the only thing, and I'll give this to WWE, what tends to happen with that, and I don't have the track record in front of me, but a lot of times those matches either don't happen or they get interrupted in segment 1 and it extends to the final segment. So I do feel like there's a little bit more bait and switch going on with the WWE.
WWE is a company built on bait and switch.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, if you ask them, that's sports entertainment, that's hooking the viewer. It's sports entertainment. It's not a wins and loss type of thing, with the exception of the King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown tournament, which that is where the wins and losses do matter. But, yeah, so, that's kind of our big news going into the weekend there. Something that we may have actually glossed over a little bit earlier in the week with the NXT recap, there was a vignette, and if you blink, you're going to miss a vignette on NXT because they are loading that program with 2 hours of content, a lot of vignettes, but it looks like there might be a new familiar face coming to NXT. Linda, would you like to elaborate who we're getting on I almost said gold and black brand, but it's not really the gold and black brand anymore. It's the Myriad of Colors brand?
It's the Kaleidoscope Splash brand.
Oh, yeah.
I remember those. Yes. Well, we did get a vignette from a familiar face within the PWR family, PWR community, and that would be the person formerly known, or I should say formerly, but also known as Sepha Fatu. That would be brothers Jimmy and Jay Uso. He, excuse me, has done lots of recent GLCW events, and we're so happy that he is now part of NXT. We saw him post him down at the Performance Center, and now we got that tease of Solo Sikoa. I'm saying that right. Who will be debuting on NXT soon? Sepha usually goes as the problem,
and I was going to say, if you didn't bring that up, that would be a problem.
Yeah. So, excited for this debut. I don't think we have a date quite yet, but I'm interested to see more of this story because in Evan yet he mentioned something about, going on his own at 15 years old, and the story behind that, and what kind of, emotional state, what's driving him in his current role at NXT. But yeah, Meathead, if you want to, elaborate a little bit about Sepha and our relationship with him with PWR.
Yeah. There's plenty of pictures out there. If you guys go look up the Fanny Pack Kid with Sepha Fatu, the problem. Sepha also has been on Blizzard Brawl. And, not just a brother of the Usos, as you probably can surmise from that, is the son of Rikishi, one of the many kids that Rikishi has out in the business. So Sepha, a former MLW champion, I believe, as well. So excited to see him make his way to NXT.
Yeah. I was going to say we did have Sepha at Blizzard Brawl last year with Rikishi, and just another thing regarding Fatu at GLCW Blizzard Brawl. We got Jacob Fatu, who will be at this year's Blizzard Brawl that's been announced. So just tying that all in, and the relationship,
friends of the program.
Exactly.
So on the subject of events, yesterday morning, Meathead, Linda and I were kind of running down some of our favorite live events and taking a little stroll down memory lane, if you will. And since you were absent from the program, you did not have the chance to contribute and take that stroll with us. So anything come to mind as far as, and I think the conversation started because we were looking at talking about the Rumble in St. Louis in January and various.
On that, Linda Kay, in St. Louis, it is 6 hours to get there. There was something you mentioned about the Arch. You and Matthew mentioned the Arch.
Yes.
People go in the Arch. I'm not going in it, but people go in.
That is true.
So you can go in the Arch.
It's an elevator that goes up and down.
See, I didn't know it was hollow. I didn't know there was anything inside of it. I thought it was just
top of the Arch. Look at pictures of the Arch on the internet, on the Google. You should Google it. It's worth a Google. But there's viewing windows at the top.
Oh, interesting.
But we got to do that.
You would think you'd get nauseous because it would take you around in a loop, right? Like, wouldn't you be upside down or something at the top of the Arch?
No. I believe it goes straight up. So I've been to St. Louis for a couple Brewers games. And one Saturday morning, right before the game, we went to go look at it. My wife and one of my groomsmen's, one of my best men went up. His wife didn't go up, and I didn't go up. So we kind of waited down while they went up and took a look at it. But they took pictures from up there. You watch a movie on how the Arch was made. Yeah, it's if you make it to St. Louis, it's definitely something you got to stop and check out.
See, I think this is a setup. I think it was just like that fortune teller did to Pee Wee Herman, telling him to go to the basement of the Alamo. I think you're setting me up. This is a long con to try to get me to figure out a way to go into the Arch.
The Alamo is a real place. It's not a motel. It's not the Alamo Motel. It's a real place.
Interesting. I'll have to check on that. Well, so outside of St. Louis and the Arch talk, man, anything strike you as far as Linda was talking last night about Raw 1000, I believe, and a couple of other events, man. I know you and I, Meathead, actually, although we didn't know each other at a time, we were running in a really close circle around 2008 at WrestleMania 24. And we've talked about it multiple times as to whether you and I were actually at the same Impact taping or same TNA. I guess it was TNA Impact at the time, or just TNA in 2008 in Orlando.
Yeah, we were there. That is probably one of my favorite weekends. Now, we've mentioned this a bunch of times on air where, yes, we were at Orlando WrestleMania 24. Linda, I don't think you were at 24, correct?
And I was not.
Okay, but Damien and I had a nice big week planned out. We literally left on a Monday. Damien actually got there before I did. He had the hotel room set up. I met with him that Monday night. I flew in a little bit later. I decided I was going to go hang out with a friend in Panama City Beach. So from Orlando, I took my car for 5 hours, whatever, to drive from Orlando to Panama City and hung out with him. Hauled ass back on a Thursday morning. Almost was late because, again, I forget about the timeline from Panama City Beach to Orlando. The timeline cuts through Florida, folks.
Oh, wow.
You wouldn't think it in Panama City Beach. It's Central Time.
No, so you're going Central to Eastern, or Eastern
You're
to
going Central to Eastern, yeah.
Mm.
Orlando's in Eastern Standard. Panama City is Central Standard. So, anyways,
that's so strange because when you think of East, you think of Florida.
Right. But no, they have Central. In the Panhandle, half of the Panhandle is on Central Standard. So, hauled ass, didn't even meet Damien back at the hotel again. I had to meet him at Universal Studios because we had press passes or whatever we had to get into the media area for the first ever live Impact.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you know what? While you had your fancy press pass, I was bounced from that show. I was not able to get in. I tried to get in, but I was not successful and unable to get into the first ever Impact. And I think
still have pictures of that one too.
Well, I think you got in, but I think also a one half of a WWE tag team at the time got in as well too, right?
Yeah, and he didn't get back into WWE at the time. He was fired.
So question, because the time zone thing is confusing. Can you use the knuckle trick for the time zones?
No, it has nothing to do with it. All right. So, but the other great thing about that was take a flashback to the weekend before we fly out. I don't like to pull the curtain back too far, but one of my main jobs has been with a telecommunications company, and I was a field operative for them. And I sliced my hand open because it was, I want to say it was Good Friday, the Friday before that. And in the Milwaukee area in 2008 on Good Friday, we got 2 feet of snow. Oh. My person that I was responsible for got his truck stuck in the snow. Ironically, folks, at the original house of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Wow. So when Lou Alcindor moved to Milwaukee, he had a house built for himself that he could fit in, and we were at that house. So my guy got stuck. Shoveled him out, had a spade shovel, got him out. I got myself stuck because I'm in a full-size van. I sliced my hand open. Luckily for me, I called somebody to come help me out. We packed it full of snow and booty covers. Get to the Concentra, whatever, the place to, obviously I had to take a drug test, but to get fixed as well. And I ended up with 5 stitches in my hand. Ironically, I was going to fly with these 5 stitches, and I knew that I was going to meet the Motor City Machine Gun. So I kept pointing at my hand with my finger, and they're like, oh, you're a big Motor City Machine. No, look at my stitches. So while we're meeting the midway, guys, because remember, folks, the TNA Impact game was coming out. We get to, right after Impact was over, we get pulled into a hotel to test out this Impact game. And in the room is Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Low Key, a whole bunch of people. Like Christopher Daniels. I think we did an interview with Christopher Daniels that night in the hotel room. Got my ass whipped in Impact by all of those guys because, well, they've been playing their game. So, but I feel so guilty still. And if I ever see Low Key again, I've got to apologize to him. Low Key was on crutches, but he was also standing in front of the cooler that had the beer. And I made him hop away so I can get at the cooler. I feel really, really bad, but it is what it is. So that was a Thursday night. The Friday night was, what did we do? We did Impact tapings again. The Saturday afternoon was Impact tapings, and I think we went to the Hall of Fame on Saturday night. And then the Sunday, Damon and I got there early, saw Rev Theory. Didn't know that Rev Theory was going to play somewhere in the, the field outside of whatever the stadium's called now in Orlando. Camping World, I think it was called. But we're standing there, and it's a stage, and all of a sudden we see people filling up behind us. Thousands of people are behind us, and we're up on the stage. And here comes Rev Theory singing, the Light It Up song, which was the theme of the pay-per-view. And at the same time, that's when Randy Orton's voices had come out.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was a great night. I loved our seats. Didn't care where they were. That was before the Sweet and Sexy, where we were up in the suites, but loved my seats. We went to Raw the next night, and that was where Ric Flair retired, and the return of Yo, 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 Papa 40 and check your rollie. It's crime time.
That's right. My goodness. I think my takeaway, though, from that whole story is you blading at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's house.
I bladed at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's house. That house is still there in its existence, Matthew. You don't know Milwaukee, but this is a house, Linda, that is technically in Tosa. Far off of North Avenue. I'd say about 100th and North Avenue, where Kareem had his original house. So all the doorways, everything else is made for a 7-footer.
I was just going to ask that. So
my goodness,
being like 2 feet under that, I guess it would be a little high.
So let me guess, if Linda
change a light bulb,
this house, she's not going to do that run up and slap the backboard at that house, right?
Yeah, I have some ups.
if you're your height and all this is made for Kareem with 7, yeah, I don't think you're running up and slapping it.
Well,
my goodness,
challenge accepted.
Well, that has been another little stroll down memory lane before we head into the weekend with like 17 hours of wrestling to watch between WWE and AEW. Anything else for the listeners, Linda or Meathead?
Linda, you had mentioned something here, and I want to kind of give you the credit for it, too. There is talk that the main event for Full Gear has been put out there. And as far as PWR Draft 2021 goes, I'm a very happy man.
I was going to say, Team Longtime is very AEW heavy. So that this really helps. I mean, not just me, but it helps all of us really. If we have to brainstorm and make a couple moves, we'll have a little tricks up our sleeves. It appears that the Full Gear card has been leaked, and this is due to a picture of Tony Kahn at the Jaguars game where he's got a notepad and he's got some names and some matches set up with some certain superstars' names circled. With this potential leak coming out, perhaps this will change that landscape that is currently noted in the notepad. But
you being a Packer, Linda, do you remember this? There was a Monday Night Football game between Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers. Bill Walsh was not coaching at the time, but was still around the team. And George Seifert was the coach. Allegedly, Bill Walsh just hanging around. They script their plays out. He left his first 15 plays laying around, and the Packers were able to snag it before a Monday Night Football game. Do you remember that story?
What year would have been?
Oh, that would have had to have been 99 or 2000.
Okay, then no. I mean, I if things stand out like that, I may have found out about it after the fact, but no, I don't recall that. But that explains why a lot of times the coaches cover their mouths with their
oh, absolutely, they have.
Sheet.
And although it affects Team Nelson Mandela in no way, shape, or form, other than other people are scoring points that are not him, cannot be more thrilled with what's looking like to be the main event for the pay-per-view. I think we've been talking about this coming for a long time, and I don't see much of a scenario where Hangman Adam Page does not leave that pay-per-view as the AEW champion.
It is
right. I was gonna say it appears of what's already shaping up on Dynamite, on Rampage, is pretty much what it's looking like for the most part on this. If it is the full elite card, some of the surprises I see on here, but for the most part, it's molding into what we're expecting to get.
And I will have you note the first Dynamite after that pay-per-view is the inaugural Dynamite show in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So if there's any better spot for a Hangman celebration, that's going to be it right there.
That would be it. It's smelling it. It's time for some cowboy shit. And it's time for the man they call Meathead to get a title win at a double point pay-per-view.
And it's time for your PWR staff to sign off for the week. It has been a quite an eventful week. Thank you, Linda, for the last 4 days. Thank you, the man that they call Meathead, for rejoining us. We got the full band back together. And who knows what kind of combination you're going to see next week. I mean,
there's talk that another man might be showing up again next week. We'll have to dig into the coffers and see what we can do.
Oh, my goodness. Let the rumors start. Let the rumors start for next week. Well, until next time, for Linda Kay, for the man they call Meathead, this is Matthew Thomas. We'll talk to you soon.